learn the purl stitch, and we're going to do that while we are making a gauge swatch for our hat. I like to combine things around here. We don't need to do things just for the sake of doing them. So what I've done here is I have cast on 20 stitches, and then I have done 2 rows of knit stitch. Just to set this up, it's going to make a nice flat gauge swatch when we're done if I frame the purl with the knit stitch. So that's all I've completed so far is 2 rows of knitting with the knit stitch. So I'm going to do 2 stitches knitted, just plain knit. And here's where we're going to start our purling. When we're doing the knit stitch, our yarn is in the back of the knitting when we start. To purl, we are going to first bring our yarn in between the needles to the front, toward me. And this is how we start the knit stitch. The purl stitch. When we knit, we take our right needle and go in through the front from left to right. Instead, with purl, we're going to go in through the front from right to left. In through the front. We're going to take the working yarn and we're going to make a loop, just like we did with the knit stitch. You remember we made the loop, but we're going counterclockwise around that right needle. We're going to pull a loop through. My dog has her toy over there. We're going to pull a loop through and off jumps Jack, just like before. We're going to do this again. And our yarn is still in the front here. From right to left, through the front, around counterclockwise. Pull the loop through and off jumps Jack. One little helpful tip. It's easy to lose your working yarn if it's too loose when you're coming back through. See how I lost my loop? So a couple of things. We're going to want to keep this decently tight. We don't want to be yanking it real hard, but we need to have some tension on there. And then also, if we put the needles in contact with each other and keep it in contact. See, this tip is still touching my left-hand needle all the way through. That really helps keep that loop where it needs to be and on your right-hand needle. Off we come. I'm going to continue this purling all the way until I have 2 stitches left on my left needle. Two stitches left. I'm going to put the yarn in back again and knit those 2. This is going to create a nice, neat frame around my gauge swatch. And we have completed a row with the purl. To continue with our gauge swatch, we're going to do a whole row of knitting. knitting. Might be too soon to see now, but if you look close, you'll see these are the 2 rows that I knitted. This is a row of purl and a row of knit. You can see that the fabric is starting to look a little different. It's a little thinner as opposed to this thick here. It's a little thinner, and you can start to see these little V's forming. V's. So I'm going to turn it over to knit stitches. Purling until we get to the last 2. Knit the last 2. Probably see it even better now. We're starting to get more rows of that. So we're going to continue knit a row, purl a row, knit a row, purl a row until our piece measures about 6-7 inches. Doesn't need to be exact. One way you'll know, so you don't have to keep track, am I on a purl row, am I on a knit row? I don't remember. If your knitting's facing you and you see the V's, you know that's a knit row. You're ready to knit the row. If your knitting is facing you and you see all the bumps, you know you're ready to do a purl row. Pro tip there. All right, we'll see you back when you have about 6 inches.